The New York Times is reporting on some foreign policy news here. They say the Obama administration is preparing to broaden its military campaign against ISIS in Iraq and Syria by increasing the number of special operations forces who advise Syrian rebels, and it is also considering the addition of army attack helicopters to fight against the militants. Yeah, okay. So, what I want everybody to do is not worry here, because this time, I'm sure that the troop increase will work. Oh, what's that? It hasn't worked from when we started, all the way back in 2001 in the case of Afghanistan, 2003 in the case of Iraq. The entire time, we still haven't been able to get rid of the problem. In fact, we've made it worse. We're essentially picking at the scab that is jihadism in this region. Weird, when you stay there and you occupy the land and you end up, on purpose or not, killing many civilians, it has the effect of further radicalizing the region and making people want to strike out against you. Again, I've given you guys the quote on the show from Zawahiri, the head of Al-Qaeda, where he said, ISIS is our sworn enemy. For those of you who don't know Al-Qaeda and ISIS, there's beef in the streets, bro. They've been going at it. They're like the Crips and the Bloods, basically. And he says, well, if the Crusaders are here on our lands, truce with ISIS, and then we both fight the Crusaders. But if they're not here, I'm going to fuck you up, dog. So as Bill Maher said on his show, well, wait, they're telling you, hey, get the fuck out. And if you get the fuck out, we'll fight each other, and it's a problem that will take care of itself. Now, is it perfect in that, hey, there will be zero jihadists left if we get out and they end up fighting each other? No, of course not. But this is where the Kurds come in. This is where the Shia militias come in. And this is where the Muslim nations in the region, the moderate Sunni nations, step up and do their thing. And then they take care of it because it's their fucking problem. But no, I mean, every single time I read stories like this, I think of Vietnam. Because this is exactly what happened in Vietnam. I mean, we've covered the story. There's a clip of John F. Kennedy talking about how, no. For everybody in Vietnam, it's their fight. It's not our fight. Again, remember, liberal Democrat who was increasing Vietnam the entire time. He said, we're not sending ground troops to fight there. These aren't boots on the ground. No, these are special operations forces. These are advisors on the ground who are helping our allies there. The entire time, what was he really doing? Of course, he was increasing the troop levels. There were literal boots on the ground, and it was mission creep. Well, this is exactly what's happening with Obama today. This is exactly what's happening with the Democrats today. Obama said in a meeting, again, this is another story that we covered, these Republicans are crazy. They wanted us to do interventions in 7 different countries. And then you cut to a speech that Obama gave months before, where he's trying to sell the Iran deal, which, by the way, is something I like. And he said, I've called for interventions in 7 countries. We've done interventions in 7 countries. So when it's convenient for him, he's like, these Republicans are crazy. They want to do interventions in 7 countries. And then when it's convenient for him at a different time, when he needs to show his tough guy bona fides, he's like, well, I've called for interventions in 7 different countries. So you can't have it both ways. That's a good thing or a bad thing. You either use it as to say they're crazy, or you use it to say, hey, I'm so tough. You can't have it both ways. But this is the Democratic Party. The choice between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party today on the issue of foreign policy is hard imperialism. That's the Republicans and the neocons. Or soft imperialism. That's Obama. That's the Democrats. That's Hillary Clinton, although I think that Hillary Clinton might even be somewhere in the middle between the neocons and Obama's position, or even just flat out with the neocons, where the idea is, no, I'm not going to do a crazy ground invasion with like 100,000 troops, but I'll put 7,000 advisors and special forces on the ground, then I'll do endless airstrikes with planes, I'll have helicopters, and I'll do drone warfare. That's what I'll do, all that stuff. I'll do soft imperialism, soft war. Well, the effects of it are the opposite of what you want them to be. Oh, look, we killed ISIS people and we're eliminating the problem. Well, no, actually, when analysts go back and count the number 3 months later, there are more ISIS people. So, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm not against fighting ISIS in principle. Somebody's got to fight him. I want the Shia militias and the Kurds to fight him and the people in the region to fight him. Somebody has to fight him. I just don't want it to be us. Because we've shown since we've been there since fucking 2001 in Afghanistan, 03 in Iraq, that the problem has gotten worse. We've exacerbated the problem. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. There are more jihadists today than there were when we started the war on terror. This is just like the drug war. I got an idea. Let's wage a war on drugs and then we'll eliminate drug use or limit it big time. Wrong. You've increased drug use. There are now more people doing drugs than there were before we blew $1 trillion on a literal drug war where thousands of people died on the border and the drug cartels have gotten more powerful and there's been a massive increase in crime. So all the social ills you were trying to cure, you made worse. But then obviously there are also ulterior motives that come into this, which show that it's more than just about, we need to defeat the bad guy. It's rarely ever just about that. The humanitarianism and altruism, these are not the main concerns of the U.S. government. I hate to burst your bubble. If that were the case, we wouldn't be besties with Saudi Arabia, a Wahhabi terror state, a Salafi terror state that says all atheists are terrorists. We behead people for sorcery and witchcraft and a bunch of stupid shit that aren't real crimes. If you really care about altruism, cut off your relationship with them immediately, or at least try to untangle it. But no, we don't do that. We get closer with them because it's not about altruism or humanitarianism. A lot of it has to do with, call it what it is, the military-industrial complex. There are very powerful people in the country who get really, really fucking rich the more war you do. And there are no bid contracts, and there are the endless creation of tanks and planes and weapons, and it ends up being a very profitable industry. This is what Eisenhower warned against. But it's not only that, it also has to do with imperial ambitions. It has to do with power. It has to do with control. It has to do with natural resources. It has to do with the U.S. viewing the world as a chessboard with Russia as the other main enemy. So we got to jockey for position here, and all the other smaller countries, they're just pawns in this broader game of us versus Russia. So, Russia has... Syria is their pawn. They have Assad who's aligned with them. So even though Assad is fighting jihadists, we got to be against Assad because he's with Russia. What the fuck are we doing? This is so stupid. It's so immensely stupid. We've made the problem worse. I want it to be better. So understand, if we want to do legit humanitarian aid to the Kurds, for example, by all means, I'll sign up for that right now. If you want to go through the proper legal channels, whether the United Nations, NATO, Congress, what have you, and you want to do legit special forces operations to go after high-value targets, whether it's Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram or ISIS, I'm all with you, man. But when you have an open-ended, endless war where you do mission creep and escalate with every passing month, no, I'm not interested in that because I don't want to spend the money, I don't want our people to die, and I don't want the problem to get worse and to exacerbate it. We can't even get clean fucking water in Flint, Michigan for kids to drink, and we're concerned about what the fuck is going on in Iraq and Syria. How stupid are we? No. Stop with the mission creep. Stop with the increase in troop levels. Stop pretending that's not what you're doing at the same time. The coy democratic game that Obama's playing and JFK played. I'm not escalating. I'm just sending in some more advisors. That's all I'm doing. And then, you blink. And at one point, we had 1,000 troops in, and now all of a sudden we have fucking 8,000. We have endless drone missions, endless airstrikes, now military helicopters too. The drone program kills 90% the wrong people, according to their numbers, not my numbers, not Code Pink, their numbers. And we're like, geez, I wonder why the problem's not getting fixed. This is why the problem isn't getting fixed. Let's stop doing it and move in the right direction.